Mindless machine. I need no time for that. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. Nature takes what's old.
So I showed some gameplay right there of my map clears and my bossing, and now we're going to go over the build really quick. I still don't think it's done, I still got some work to do on it, but I think it's salvageable for right now. So yeah, we're doing the unseen path so that you can get the bonus skill tree stuff on here. We'll go over it in a second. This is the most important thing to get first, and I'll explain why as we go along the skill tree. Then you get the critical damage bonus and the lesser harm, and then you get the critical chance, and then you get the force outcome. And then I don't know what I'm going to do with my last 2 points. I'm either going to do Harmony Within or maybe Converging Paths, since I have a free skill point, and this might increase our damage because when we free something we can just dump on it and the copy of it. And then we're just going to run up this skill tree first. We're just doing armor, and then mana, some more armor, some area of effect, some immobilization, damage, and then you'll notice there's a lot of decks in this build. I'll explain that when we go over the gear. Maximum rage. That's important because when you pop Lunar Blessing, you consume your rage, and the duration of Lunar Blessing is increased for how much rage you have. This also just got buffed, technically, if you're doing it this way. The cooldown of this got doubled, basically. It went from 10 seconds to 22 seconds, but the cooldown now applies instantly, even during the duration of it. So if you have enough rage, you can have your duration last longer than the cooldown of this, especially if you have 2 cooldown reduction nodes like I do. But we'll go over that more in a little bit. And then this is important from the Unseen Path, so that's why it's important to have the Unseen Path. This is also from the Unseen Path. This is 15% more damage for you and your minions, 15 again for both you and your minions, 15 again for you and your minions, and then 30% for you and your minions. This is increased damage. This is gain rage on melee hit, and then gain rage on melee, and melee also increases your physical damage. All of your abilities scale up for physical damage, so that's important to know about. This is a jewel right now I have. It's pretty mid. It's okay. It's cold damage, some critical damage bonus, and some minion critical damage bonus. That ignite magnitude is useless, but whatever. We'll get rid of it eventually. And then we have more decks, and decks. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to grab this. This is important when we get into the gear, and you'll understand when we get into the gear. And then up here, part of the unseen path is some more minion damage, some more minion companion damage, because these minions count as companions and minions. And so do these ones. These ones count as companions and minions. So it's important to have a good mix of companion damage and minion damage. This is just so that your companions can get some more survivability, more minion damage, more command skills. We're really just using this node to go over here to get this more damage. This isn't that useful because we don't have that many command skills in our build. And then temporary minions. Now, some people are going to question this one because it doesn't seem like you have any temporary minions in this build, but you do. For some reason, Pounce doesn't have the temporary tag anywhere, but these summon wolves are temporary minions. And the only reason I know that is because the limit is 6. But with this, we have 8. And I know we have 8 because you'll see it in the game. If you rewind and look at the gameplay, you'll see that we have 8 summoned from wolves. And then we're going to go over here. We have more companion damage. This whole tree is about companions. And they get onslaught, which gives them movement speed and attack speed. While you're shapeshifted, we're permanently shapeshifted in this build. And then this is some more minion damage and damage for you. Some more minion damage for you. Minions have some resistances and increased threshold for getting affected by stuff. This is a big one. This is from the unseen path. This is 30% between the two of these. And then minions get some recoup damage and some extra chaos damage, which is important. It gives them a pretty big damage increase. So that's the first part of the skill tree, and then we're going to go to the second part of the skill tree right here. Again, more dexterity along this line, and then some magnitude for chill, because we do have a little bit of a difficulty in freezing stuff with this build. I'm trying to work that out and solve it, because basically, if you don't know, Lunar Assault, this freeze is dependent on how hard you hit the target with this skill. So we don't apply a lot of freeze because we're not doing very much damage. The dogs are doing a lot of damage, so they apply a lot of freeze. This is just to help them out and help us out a little bit. Oh, my bad. And then we're going to grab some strength bonuses. This is just to go down the tree and meet gear requirements. That's all I really think that these nodes are. They're just meeting some gear requirements. And then this is some more rage. Max rage, max rage, max rage. And then this is very important. This is where minions gain increased damage, you gain increased damage, and then maximum rage, and then rage affects minions. Minions get increased attack speed and increased rage depending on your rage meter. And then I'm currently going up this tree right now for some cooldown reduction and some movement speed. And then I'll go over, I do want these two nodes eventually. We're only level 71 right now, but as we continue, I'll show you what else I'm going to go for. I skilled this, I want to skill this, I want to skill this next, and then I'll show you what else we're going to go for. We're going for attack speed here, and then more attack speed for the minions. And then allies in your presence deal more damage, you deal less. Allies deal more, you deal less. And then some reservation efficiency just to squeeze out some more spirit stuff in our gear and our skills. And then where else am I going to go on this tree? So probably my last few skill points up to like 100 are going to go for these critical damage increasers. Because we're going to have permanent crits when I get my next ascension, these critical damage bonuses are pretty big damage bonuses. And then there's more critical damage bonuses right here as part of the unseen path. And then with like the last few leftover points, there's two ways that I could go about it. I could go this way and grab, or probably up here actually, because this is only 1, 2, 3, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So probably up from here, down, 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 and then grab this. This is another freeze tree for increased freeze buildup, just so that we can try and get those instant freezes a little bit faster. There is one final option as far as I'm concerned. The final option is to go up and go for this, where we put 1 point into this, and then 1 point into this, and then 1 point into this, and then 1 into this. And then this will give us 2 more temporary minions from Pounce. And I think that's a big deal. I'm not sure. If I could get all of them, I might. I don't feel like doing the math whether or not I have enough skill points left to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess I'm going to get this, so I might as well go this way. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18. We might have enough. Yeah, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, we should have enough. And then, like, I don't know what else to do with, like, the rest of those leftover points. There's still, like, a couple more leftover points, I'm pretty sure, as far. But there's nothing else really in this entire area that we need, per se. We've pretty much got all of the minion nodes that are important. Like, these ones are command skills. We don't really need these. These ones are health. We don't really need these. We're not worried about our minions' HP, which is why we didn't really grab these two. This is only a 10%. This is a 20%. And this is just some block chance. It's not really that important. This duration node is going to suck to grab, but it's just to get to this, where this is a 6%, and then this is a 2+2 to our limit, and then we could grab the left hand for bonus minion damage, and we could grab the top for some more, maybe the bottom right here, and then maybe like grab this more freeze buildup, but I'm not sure. All right, let's go over the gear really quick. So for gear, ignore my inventory. It's a disaster right now. The only things that are required for this build, there are 2 uniques required, and I know for some people that's like going to be a big turnoff, but this is very important for the build. Ideally, you want to get a max roll on this part, right? The minions deal 50% increased damage, and then as high as you can on this physical damage, and then an 8 out of 8 on this damage per minion. The strength, intelligence, and the movement speed really don't matter. And then you want as high as the level for the cackling companions as you can possibly get. You can put physical and cold on this if you want, but it doesn't really matter. And the only other unique that's required is this one. This is why we have so many points in dexterity, because you need 83 dex to wear this chest plate. And this gives us 2 companions. And these both count as 2 companions. The Wolf Pack and the Cackling Companion Pack, which is a Hyena Pack. They both count as companions. So you need this to wield both of these at the same time. And then, like I said, in the skill tree, this skill point was very important because it gives you access to run a scepter with your talisman. So right now I have a Malice talisman. Malice is pretty good. It just helps the wolves crit a little bit more. Inside there we have a primate idol to give us allies in your presence deal 30% increased damage. And then you can read all this, right? Allies deal 102% more damage. Again, added physical, added lightning, added crit damage, added attack speed, added minion skills. And those are the only things that are required. This is just a generic headpiece to give us some evasion. This is a generic ring to give us some of our resistances. My resistances fell off a little bit. I probably got to bring them back up to cap. I'm probably going to work on that at some point today. I forget what I did to make them fall off so hard, but I'm going to bring them back up. And then you want to get way more evasion than I have. I've been ignoring my gear a lot and worrying about my skill tree like too much. And then this is the gauntlets that increase your freeze magnitude. I don't think that these are required, especially because their numbers are so low for me. I mean, this is, I guess, a 55 increase, which is way higher than it's supposed to be, and same thing with this, I guess. But again, I don't think this is required. We're not freezing fast enough anyway. It helps, but it's not required. This ring, and then this is some more, basically, a necklace that's also a scepter. This just gives them allies in your presence get more critical chance, allies get more critical damage, allies get more attack speed, allies get cast speed. And then your presence radius is reduced slightly, but it doesn't matter as long as you play with your wolves, right? As long as you play in your wolves vicinity, like, and you're not like too far back. Like, this build is supposed to be very with the pack kind of playstyle. And I think that's everything as far as gear goes. I don't think any of this other stuff really matters. Again, like, this is generic gear as far across the board. It's just really this unique, and then as good as a scepter as you can get it. And then really quick, we'll go over what I have got going on in skills. Shred, I use Shred just to build Rage, so it's got attack speed and like Rage Builder in it. This is just a little bit of damage, and this is just a little bit of area of effect for the crystals. And then right now, I've got Cackling Companions with, they deal extra cold damage. This helps them build up their freeze quicker so that they can help freeze an enemy. And this is, they deal 30% more damage, and they take 15% more. This is minions are gigantic. Gigantic minions have 20% more HP and 20% more damage and 20% more size. The size is purely cosmetic. It doesn't matter. And then this is one of the lineage gems. They're kind of rare. You have to defeat a lineage boss to get one. And then this makes it so that because I have 8 hyenas, they take a decent bit of my like, when I take damage, they take it for me, and then they heal for it, and then I heal for it as well. Malice doesn't have anything important in it. It just makes your minions deal more damage. I don't want to give it too much more because it'll make the spirit cost go up. And then in Wolf Pack, I do have Wolf Pack quality maxed just to give me that +1 wolf, because that's, again, 8% more damage with this, just by having that one more wolf in there. And they have almost the same thing as Cackling Companions. They have the cold damage, they have the Feeding Frenzy, they have hulking minions, and then they have armor break right now. Ideally, I'm going to replace this eventually with a different lineage gem. The lineage gem is Tekrod's Revenge, and it makes it so that minions with this gem continue to fight even after they're dead, and they also get a damage bonus and lifesteal when they're in that like death state. And they get a burst of speed as well, and then they can basically fight and like potentially heal themselves back up, and they get attack speed out of it. So that would probably be a little bit better than breaking armor. The armor break is good, especially because it affects the whole like pack, and they do break armor pretty quickly. And then in Lunar Assault, I've just got attack speed to make this a little bit faster to cast, freeze duration, freeze build up to help them with building up the freeze, and then when I freeze a target with this skill, depending on my rage, allies in my presence get 1% bonus cold damage for 20 seconds. This depends on how much rage you have, and how it converts directly into how much bonus cold damage the entire pack gets. And then in Pounce, I have enemies marked by supported skills break their armor. Oh yeah, so yeah, you definitely don't need armor break because the Pounce will break armor like pretty much instantly. Marks from supported skills are not consumed the first time they activate. This allows you to pounce and then immediately cross slash to break it, because cross slash procs marks and consumes them. So it allows you to pounce and then cross slash to immediately summon 2 wolves guaranteed on like bosses, because the pounce predator's mark thing procs a bonus wolf if the target is unique. And if you guys didn't know, Predator's Mark is the mark that defaultly is in Pounce. It makes it so that when you hit an enemy, they take damage depending on how many summons you have surrounding the target. Right? So the more summons you have, the more percent increase this is, all the way up until 45%, and increasing even more when you start putting some quality into it. So yeah, this makes it so it's not consumed when you do a prounce and a cross slash. This is just some area of effect on it, and consecrated ground helps me sustain my health a little bit and helps me sustain the pack a little bit. And then Arctic Owl is extremely, extremely important on this build. This is the only other skill I think I have maxed out quality on, and that's because this increases the amount of freeze buildup that you give the entire pack when you howl. And right now I've got Echoing Cry in it, so this is basically really good when you freeze a target, you can howl, and then your pack will get 3 attacks of bonus damage and bonus cold, and then by the time, because their attack speed is so high, by the time they get those 3 attacks off, the second pulse of the Echoing Howl will go off, and then they'll get 3 more attacks, and then the third pulse will go off, and they'll get 3 more attacks. It just really, really helps. This just makes it so that it's larger, so that it's easier to hit the entire pack, because sometimes they spread out really far. And then this makes it so that they can get even more attacks out of that potentially, and this makes it so that this is also a rage generator for us, just in case we can't hit something with Shred. Cross Slash I have as like a finisher, so I have Culling Strike in it. I have deal more damage on targets that are low HP, and then just deal more damage. And then Lunar Blessing I have maxed out for duration. Cooldown reduction, there's 2 cooldown reductions in this, and then some area of effect. I probably will replace the area of effect with super critical with one of these 2 gems that I actually have right now, just to increase the damage of it. And that's about everything. So yeah, I'm just making this video to prove that, you know, wolves can work. They're just a little bit difficult to work with right now. There was a big patch today, and the patch did fix wolves just a little bit in certain situations, but they're still not perfect. I'm still going to keep going and see how far I can take this build, and if I make any other improvements, I'll update the video probably. But thanks for watching. Have a good one.